Hey,
Hello.
welcome to another brand new episode of the Tech That Doesn't Byte cast.
Yeah.
Simon, and
Hey,
I haven't even introduced him.
I know, right? How's it going, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. So
Yeah,
rude.
this guy. Whatever about this guy. Yeah, there we go.
Interrupting my my intro.
No,
And then,
no, I wouldn't do that. That's not right. It wouldn't be
but
cool or
you did.
professional.
But you
I'm sorry.
did.
I'm
That's the thing you
sorry.
did. It's okay.
All right, let's
It's
just
all
start
good.
over then.
No, we're not gonna
Yeah.
start over. This is live. You know?
Right. Can't do that. Can't do that. Right on.
Well, if you guys see this title, it says episode 6 live stream. That is correct. This is
Yay.
technically the 6th episode of a little Bytecast podcast that we've been doing for the past few weeks.
Right on.
You could definitely check out that podcast on your favorite podcasting app like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and wherever podcasting.
So many to list. They're even on our website too. So if you go to TechThatDoesn'tByte.com and hit over to the Bytecast section, you'll see all the services that we are a part of.
Yep, absolutely. So we are going to talk about the latest tech
news.
Everything that happened this week up to April 8th of 2021. I can't believe it's already April.
I'm impressed we got through 2020, but that's a whole other discussion that we're not even going to talk about.
That's a whole nother discussion. So,
oh my God, yeah.
Let's go on to our first story, and our first story is kind of a sad thing, to be honest.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's it looks like after a decade of failure, LG officially quits the smartphone market.
Yeah, that sucks, man.
Yeah. Oh wow. I was like, man, this is probably like one of the major players to leave in a long time.
Yeah. I had an LG Envy like years and years ago, and that was something else. That was really something else.
LG mobile division calls it quits after 23 consecutive money losing quarters. Ouch. 23.
Dang.
Yeah.
Dang.
And this article was posted on April 5th during the weekend or very early Monday.
Right on. Yeah, but still, that's really too bad. That's really too bad.
Yeah, after 12 years of being an Android OEM, LG has had enough. Korean company announced that late last night that it officially quitting the smartphone market, plans to close up shop on the entire business by July 31st of 2021.
Screw this, man. I'm taking my ball and I'm going home.
Yeah, the news doesn't come as much of a surprise since LG has been preparing the public for this decision for some time. LG's mobile division had 23 consecutive money-losing quarters, and its last profitable year was in 2014. In January 2022, LG Electronics then brand new CEO Kwon Bong-sik
Say it 5 times fast. You can do it. 5 times fast. You can do it.
Promised that the troublesome division will be profitable by 2021. That message was apparently profitable or bust, because by January 2021, LG was warning the public that they would have to make a cold judgment about the future of the mobile division. Local media reports claims that LG explored selling the division but couldn't find a buyer. Yeah. And then talks about a lot of, gimmicks that they had, and they had some pretty good devices, was good concept, but it just never really hit the ground.
Well, maybe it's just me and just where I watch TV and whatnot or listen to the radio, but I don't recall in the last bunch of years of actually seeing like LG ads for their phones. Or anything along those lines. And I would say that's a bigger part of the problem, because I remember like the LG ads from way back when they like pushed the Envy, for example, when they first started, when you could flip it on the side, flip it open, and then, use the keyboard, which I thought was really slick. I'm like, oh yeah, this is great, and go that route. But
I think, to be honest, that's probably one of their flaws is that their marketing isn't that great.
Well, obviously, yeah. I mean, they keep losing money like that. I mean, 23 quarters in a row, man. That's dang. I mean, I'm surprised that they would have lasted that long. I mean, I can only imagine really what would have allowed them to continue losing that kind of money quarter after quarter after quarter. I mean, you would think that for all the advances that that Apple or any Samsung or whomever else is making phones, that they would have figured something out. Go, okay, we need something innovative. Come up with something innovative, and then gone in and done something innovative, we would hope, or something cool or neat, or maybe an improvement on something that already existed that people were like, yeah, this is something I really want. But yeah, I mean, I guess whatever market research they were doing just fell flat. It's the only thing I could think of that would have caused it to fail so miserably. But let losses like that go on for 10 years? That's amazing, though.
I think they were hoping for something. They were hoping for that next big thing for them, and never came fruition.
Well, they never tried. It just seems like they never tried. Or
I think if you look,
I mean, I don't know. I mean,
they have tried. If you look at their devices, they're pretty impressive. It's just that you just couldn't get that reach to have people buy it.
Well, they didn't advertise it. If they didn't advertise it, like I said, I didn't see any
not
ads
that well.
for it, but right. Yeah,
and you could also blame their naming schemes are like kind of weird.
Oh,
yeah, they go like V10, V60.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like,
I'm not buying a car.
Yeah, we're not buying a car. And I was like, so what kind of phone is this? Just, I don't know. I think it's just, there's just so many Android phones out there that, they're in that same market, but, their marketing obviously just not that great.
Yeah, no, I agree.
In the Android market, Samsung, they market it much better.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely.
And even look at carriers; they don't even push those kind of phones that often. Like every time you go your carrier, and then you see like big sale, it's either iPhone, get an iPhone 12 for free, or get a Samsung phone for free. And then once in a while, you see like, get an LG phone. It's like somewhere like right in the bottom. Or it's like
that's exactly
like a fine print kind of a deal. You get
it. I mean, that's a big thing. I mean, a lot of people I would imagine see advertising as like, it's a big waste of money. I mean, it doesn't really work and all this other jazz. The problem is, if people don't know about your stuff, it's because you don't advertise. That's part of it right there. Yeah, it's it's a big expense, but the thing is, if you don't tell people, then they don't know. That's the long and short of it. They just don't know.
Yeah, and that's the sad part for LG. But you know what? Good for them. They're losing money. Get out. It's like no point to keep losing money.
Yeah, but 10 years is a long time to lose money. That's all I'll say. That's a long time. I mean, they could have cut out 5 years ago and probably remained profitable, whatever else they're doing, and would have been okay with that. Or maybe they could have revamped it, come up with a better strategy, found a new guy to run that division, and go from there. I mean, I don't know if they kept swapping out head VPs in that division and whatnot.
I don't even know.
Right. See, and that's just it.
If they had like the same guy, much about them, anyways.
Right. See, they had like the same guy. Right. Oh, we're gonna stay the course. It'll work someday. It just isn't gonna do it, and that's part of the problem. They would have needed some fresh thinking, fresh blood. And, that could solve the problem, but too late now for that. Oh well. Maybe they'll try again in a couple of years. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I mean, this is probably in a long time a second brand that's left. Yeah, the first. Well, I wouldn't say BlackBerry. They're trying to make a comeback, so good luck with that. Good luck with that, BlackBerry. I know if you can.
There's a big vacuum. Okay, maybe a little vacuum, but give it a whirl. Try what you can.
I think the only one major player I know that left the market was Microsoft with their Windows Phone.
Right. I got a vague remember that. It's dang, it was a long time ago.
I don't know. I mean, who's next? Who do you think will be next?
To drop out? Oh, geez. BlackBerry seems like an obvious choice, but I mean, unless they're doing well enough, I mean, I don't even have any numbers to even make a guess on something like that. That'd be a big one. I'd want to know, like, what kind of sales are they making? What kind of numbers are they coming up with? How are they doing? But I mean, BlackBerry, like I said, you mentioned them, seems kind of obvious. But I'm trying to think, like, who else has phones out there? I'm like, well, Nokia is still pretty strong, probably. So they're probably not dropping that anytime soon.
When was the last time you've seen someone with a Nokia phone?
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. See, yeah, you see how dated my thinking is here, because I just don't know who's out there. I mean, it's not
that you're dated. It's just that there really no one has a Nokia phone here.
Yeah. But they might be real big over on the other side of the pond. So who knows? Right?
I think that, just a guess, that I think the next company to really drop off from the smartphone business. I hate to say it, they have some really decent phones. Just I don't think a lot of people are buying them. It's Motorola.
Oh, Well, they've gone through a couple of revampments, so that's they may stick it out. But you have a very interesting point. What do you think will be their point of failure for them? It's just that they're just not getting the sales, or it's
Yeah, I don't think they really push it here in the States that often.
That's true. I don't see a lot of ads for them as well.
And they have some really good phones at decent price.
Mm-hmm.
Very decent price. I mean, I bought one before, and it was a very good phone.
Yeah,
for that price point, but they just need to push it more. Like,
yeah,
I've never seen a Motorola, their Motorola G's line or their smartphone lines.
Right.
Never seen an advertisement whatsoever. Never seen anything.
It's been a while since. I mean, Motorola was real big when Apple was kind of getting in that market as well, as I recall. The two, if they weren't working together, they were competing. So I don't know. It's a little funky to really say, but Motorola is an interesting selection on your part. That's so I'm just I might still vote on BlackBerry, but again, unless they have some kind of niche market that they're reaching and can remain profitable, or at least be able to keep money coming in. And I'll say by comparison, like with Earthlink and whatnot, you don't usually think of Earthlink as an internet service provider that you stick with and keep using.
Nope.
I still have them. I admit that, but you don't hear about them at all. And yes, they're still generating money, mostly I think on dial-up service in the more remote areas and that sort of thing. But yeah. So I don't know. I think BlackBerry might be the ones who go next. That you mentioned them, because I mean Motorola, I think, is still on top of things. But BlackBerry, like I said, unless they've really got a good hold of their niche market and they're really generating the money, I got nothing.
We'll see how they come back.
All right. Well, we made our predictions here: BlackBerry or Motorola. So there we go. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see who's next.
All right. Here's our next story, and our next story is, speaking of phones.
Oh.
Not really a phone, but it's a phone carrier.
Oh, phone carrier.
Recent announcement. The T-Mobile wireless carrier launches long-promised 5G home internet service.
Aha. Okay.
Once again, putting Sprint's mid-band spectrum to work. Perfect. After a long pilot period, T-Mobile is making its 5G home internet service a reality today. The company made the announcement on their live stream, teased it as the next Un-carrier move, and it says 30 million homes are now eligible for the service, 10 million of which are in rural service. The cost, that's
always the big one.
It's always the big one. The service costs $60 per month or $65 without auto pay, which is $10 more per month than when the pilot program was introduced. The service comes with no data caps, hardware rental fees or annual contracts, and customers self-install their own equipment.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
T-Mobile says most customers will experience speeds of 100 megabits per second. And all eligible customers should see an average speed of 50 megabits per second, depending on coverage in your area, and it will either use a 4G or 5G signal, whichever is faster.
I would assume the 5G.
I think it will. I think that last part means whichever is available.
Right, that actually would make a lot more sense.
Yeah,
we don't got 5G stuff out here in the middle of nowhere.
Whichever is available. So
right, yeah, exactly.
But there's an important caveat: home internet customers are subject to data slowdown during times of network congestion, very common, which could be a serious deterrent for some customers who live in dense areas like us.
Dense. What?
T-Mobile's talk of 5G home internet dates back in 2019 when the company was making its case, about their thing. So
that's good, Simon. Well done.
Yeah. No, let's just talk about the backstory of why they started this. They wanted to get more, cover more rural areas.
Right. Yeah.
So here's my beef with this.
No, this will be good.
I don't know why I say
lay it on me. Yeah.
$60 per month for speeds to up to 100 megabits per second. That's less than what you would probably get here in California, at least. Okay.
I think it may depend on where you are and who you're competing against. I mean, if you're like in Kansas, that might be like premium service versus like here in California, where that's like competitive against other providers of internet service.
I'm not even sure this is even available in California, but no, for rural service, that's good if there's no other alternatives. But let's hypothetically speaking, like this is available here in California.
Right.
In our area, our primary internet provider, depending where we live, is either Spectrum, AT&T,
They suck. Sorry.
AT&T Fiber, or Verizon, if you live in one area that has coverage for Verizon Fiber. But most of us here are Spectrum.
Right.
And even with the recent price increase, yes, Spectrum, we know about your price increase as I see in my bill. Jerks. Jerks.
Very big. Well, at least the service works versus AT&T where the service doesn't work and you will still wind up paying for that. And that's something with my wife and her business. I won't even get into that. Well, maybe I'll get into it later. But just anyways, go on. I have nothing but nice to say about AT&T myself. But go on, please.
Well, all broadband carriers are like that.
Yeah. Well, no, you'll love this one. But go on.
So it's with Spectrum, the lowest speed. I think it starts off in our areas. It's 200 megabits per second now.
Probably if it doesn't start at 100, it does go up to 200 for sure. 200. That much I could tell you for sure.
It's all it started off as 100, but then they recently upped it up to 200. So it started up as 200.
I'd been upgrading my speed, so maybe they just made that to the default base. I had 100, then went up to 200. So that's why.
So I think by default price now, I think it's about $79 or $74.99 a month.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. And if you go up the higher tier, which I have, it's the 400, it's about $94.99.
Right.
Just talking about it just hurts my
gives me palpitations. God's
it hurts. Like just talking about it.
My poor wallet.
You know, I don't poor wallet, poor credit card, whatever, poor us. No, but if you look at it from our perspective, $60 for 100 megs, it's not a very compelling deal. And
out here it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
I suppose
out here it says most users will experience at least 50 megabits now. So that's between 50 and 100.
Right, based on congestion, when you use it and all that. And I would imagine during the time of our pandemic and whatnot, that actually would be near impossible to hit. When people start going back to the office, maybe it'll work out better. But again, it all depends and whatnot. But
so if this was available in California, maximum theoretical speed 100 megabits down.
Right.
Typically, everyone should get 50. So depending what area, if your T-Mobile coverage sucks, you're not even gonna get 50. You're probably gonna get 1 to 10 at least.
Yeah. That was actually something akin that was happening to my wife at her business. She had AT&T, and she was actually getting 7 megabytes download, 0.5 megabyte upload. No joke. And she had been paying for this and not really, she wasn't really paying attention to it. But then she's like, why is it taking so long to upload all these tax forms to Google or whatever? And I said, okay, hey, honey, why don't you run a trace route? She runs a trace route with all these little stars everywhere. I'm like, okay, you need to call tech support. And they said, okay, yeah, we can't fix this. They actually came out, replaced the modem, tried to figure it out. Yeah, we can't help it. And they're like, so, hey, you don't work for AT&T, right? No, good. Why don't you switch over to Charter and they'll help you out? So the tech was actually telling her to switch. It was so bad. I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah,
so
it depends on area. So
it does and it doesn't. But in this case, for whatever reason, AT&T just absolutely in that area couldn't pull out anything faster. We're like, oh, well, we're going to charge you what we were going to give you anyways. Because obviously the contracts, we give you speeds up to whatever they're going to charge you up for. So it's on the language. So we said, screw that noise, got Charter, put it in the cable, bam, it's lickety split fast. It's great. It's operating the way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
So she was really happy about that. But she's like at some promo rate for, I think it's like $60, $70 a month. It's going to go up to a little more money than that because it's a business, so they have to charge more money. It's so dumb. Whatever. But
it's a business, they can charge more money, and then for personal people,
right,
they're still charging more money. So
they assume that businesses just have money lying around. I'm like, oh man, she's self-employed. She doesn't have that much money, so whatever.
So what I'm saying is, if you guys can get it, if you had no other option, this is a good option. But definitely check coverage, congestion if it's in your area, because don't get all crazy when your phone or any other device has 5G. It depends what 5G you're using.
Right.
Okay. Because I have used T-Mobile 5G before, and let me tell you, felt like 4G to me in my area.
Nice.
Okay. The
Nice.
speeds weren't any different. All
Mm.
right.
Mm.
So
So the short answer is do your homework.
do your
Check
homework
it out.
before you
Do your
sign up
homework.
for it, you know.
That
I'm not like talking nonsense about T-Mobile, but I just feel like from my user experience,
Mhm, mhm.
sometimes they overhype their network.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's
What they're
exactly
doing
it.
right now.
Well, that's the nature of marketing, like we were
Yeah.
talking about before. If you don't market your stuff, nobody knows, or whatever. But you got to live up to the hype too, and that's a big one also.
Yeah.
That's a big one
So
also.
be careful with the hype, man.
Yeah.
That includes every carrier.
Mhm.
All right.
Mhm. Mhm.
Every single carrier.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, all right, man. So the next story is yours. This
All
is
right.
the one with Fortnite. Oh, the endless fiasco.
Oh my God. Okay. So you probably heard me bring it up on the Tech That Doesn't Bite newscast that I did a while back, where Epic Games elected to sue Apple and basically for because of their restrictive Apple stores rules and whatnot. As you may recall, Epic Games had elected to sidestep the Apple Store when you make an in-game purchase, which caused Apple to remove Fortnite from their store for violating their terms of service, which in turn caused Epic Games to file an antitrust lawsuit, which, based on the timing and the immediacy of which it happened, would suggest that they had actually planned to do this all along. There was like a big strategy that they had to pull this off. Now, the short answer on at least from the money side is that basically you buy something, it goes through the Apple Store, Apple takes 30% of that purchase and it's theirs. Google does the same thing, and that's just the way it operates. That's the business model in which it operates.
Yep.
So so Epic decided they weren't going to have any more of that, and that's why they elected to file this antitrust lawsuit when they decided to break away and break the rules and basically try to cheat the other guy, pass the savings on to you, which works. I assume still works now. So all right, so coming May 3rd, Epic Games is going to finally have its day in court and force Apple to defend itself and its business model of taxing 30%, like I said, of every purchase made. And fact-finding documents for both sides have been filed, totaling nearly 650 pages. And and a review of these documents. I know, right? Oh yeah, I'll get paid to read that. Sure. No, I'm not going to do that. But a review of these documents, I guess, are going to raise a few questions about that'll be central to the trial here. So here are the questions that kind of come up about this. All right. Is the exclusive App Store a necessary part of iOS? Now, my kind of take on this, at least, and the way the article kind of goes on about, is that this is more in the sense of like a legal monopoly of Windows, but the illegal extension was to the secondary market of web browsers. So you may recall, at least I recall, was that if you had Windows, you had to have Internet Explorer, because if you tried to uninstall it, the operating system would break, which was a problem. And that invariably is what prompted them to get sued and so forth. And so now, so the question sort of becomes then, is the App Store model fundamentally separate from the iOS, or from iOS? So that'll be an interesting aspect that it's going to take on for a part of that. Now, the second question that comes up about this is, how is the iPhone different from a PlayStation? Okay, so thank you, Captain Obvious, for that question, but but this tends, right? Let me think about this for a minute.
It's a phone.
It's a phone. Yeah, exactly. Right.
And one's a gaming console.
But this question tends to deal more with the competition between developers and them making money than the devices themselves. So it's sort of like you've got the app developers versus the console developers. Whereas the I guess it's like the app developers don't really make a whole lot of money from the store, as I understand it, because there's not that much competition with the developers, but they at least have the ability to be able to put their stuff in the Apple Store and then sell it. Plenty of other platforms they could use, at least, like Google or others, but like app developers, aren't as competitive as the console developers, which is a long and slow process when you want to bring a game to PlayStation or to the Xbox or whatever. So that's really more where it tends to deal with here. Epic's argument themselves, quote, "The constant competition between Xbox and PlayStation gives game developers leverage to extract more favorable terms. But iOS and Android don't compete for app developers in the same way, and the lower cost of mobile development mobile development means the competition happens on a vastly different terms, which kind of makes sense when you really when you explain it that way. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes some sense. So that's kind of interesting aspect to see what it's going to deal with. So it's not the devices, it's the developers that are actually at play here. The last question here, which I was kind of intrigued by, was how much control can Apple exert over its hardware? Now, depending on who you ask, either Apple created this walled paradise and then locked the gates once you came inside, or it's a highly synergistic combination of hardware and software, making an amazing user experience that is a true point of genius. Like I said, it does depend on who you ask there, but it also depends on how well it keeps the system closed. But losing this case actually might place limits on what Apple can and can't do. So it'll be interesting to see how some of those questions are going to get asked, and really whether or not the store is seen as being monopolistic in how it operates. But it is a closed system, so it's pretty secure theoretically, and therefore it can charge what they want. But I think depending on the game, you could either play it on your iPhone, you could play on a console, you could play on your PC, like in Fortnite's case. But there are apps that are specific to Apple. And I just ran across one recently. I forgot the name of it. It was like it was an audio app called I just saw an article about it recently too, where somebody somebody was going to buy it for like $4 billion. No joke, $4 billion. And it was kind of astonishing that somebody was going to pay that much for an app. But it was an Apple only app. So that actually might be something that affects it very directly, in that whatever purchases are made within the app itself, if there are any, actually at the moment there aren't, but if there were any, that 30% of whatever is bought through there goes to Apple, and you can't do anything about that. Granted, there are other outside app vendors, but you don't go through them because they just don't have the place or the established foundation to be able to sell to Apple users and so forth, as I kind of understood the article. So yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a crazy trial.
Yeah, no, it should be interesting. It should be interesting. I like I said, I've been kind of following this with great interest here. So now I'm kind of intrigued to see where whether Apple actually will get busted for being antitrust or being monopolistic. But like I said, it might just be that its monopoly is legal in the sense of that, it's Apple, so they have to be, in a manner of speaking. But when they extend it or use their power or flex, if you will, outside of that, that's when it becomes illegal and problematic. I think that might be kind of a crux of where they're going with this. So it'll be interesting to see where that'll go, if it actually goes in that direction.
Yeah, I agree. And I know that Fortnite, I believe they're developing, I don't know if it's available yet, but a workaround where you're not going to download the app on the App Store. You're going to play it through your browser on iOS.
Oh, okay.
Using, I think, either NVIDIA GeForce Game Now, or their own cloud service.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So you're basically playing it through that.
Okay.
So I think that's in development, or it might be out there, but you're basically just playing it on the web browser.
Run on. Okay, I hadn't actually heard that. That's interesting. All right.
Apple could block you from that because it's on the internet.
That is true, and I know that older Battlefield games were set up that way, so that'll be interesting to see how that's going to pan out. So yeah, that'd be the way to go there.
So I just gotta see how performance is.
Yeah.
So, man, the fact that you could play a game like that on a web browser, geez,
that'd be something. It'd be something. You wouldn't have to worry about having to log into your iDevice or any of your consoles. You just go run your PC or just play through a browser, which I would be able to do. So that'll be kind of fun. I like the idea.
So we'll see how this story goes.
I'll definitely keep y'all posted for sure. No problem.
Yeah, because he's the gamer.
Hoorah!
I don't know. Are you a gamer?
No, I'm a gamer. I'm a gamer. I play games. I do that sort of thing. Fortnite is even one of them. Although I'm ashamed to admit that I actually did update it recently, and I haven't played in 2-3 weeks. It's really, really bad. I've been getting involved in some other game that my son showed me, so I won't even get into that part of it. It's ridiculous. So there's only so many hours in a day that I can do things.
Gamer there, gamer here.
Right, exactly. Either game with this, game with that, whatever.
All right. So the next story.
Next story.
Jeff, yes. Talk about it. And Jeff will be really going to be onto the story. This was his story. So
It is.
go ahead, Jeff.
All right. Well, this story is interesting. Now, this may not seem very tech related, but this has to do with Twitter and basically freedom of speech, or however you might want to look at it, in a manner of speaking. We touched on this before, like a while back. So the article from BBC mentions how Trump's tweets, yes, that guy, Trump's tweets cannot be brought back to life on Twitter. So there is absolutely no way on God's green earth, if you will, that that the tweets that Trump had during his presidency, or probably his account overall, are ever going to be seen on Twitter again. It says he was permanently banned from there, and that's pretty much the long and short of that part of it. So basically, Twitter said, okay, yeah, it's not going to show up either as an active account or any kind of archived format either. Which, if you would like to shut your Twitter down, or you close it, or simply just not use it anymore, it can't go into an archive format where people can still see it, but even Trump's account is not going to be there anymore. Now, at this point, the National Archives and Records Administration, NARA, has not been able to figure out how or where his tweets are going to live, where they're going to live, mainly for reasons of posterity and historical record keeping. He's a public figure, is, and obviously because he was a part of this nation's presidency and so forth, and its national history, they're going to have the Trump Library eventually, just like Nixon did, and Carter, and all these other people. Well, not Carter yet, but basically any president who was passed are going to have libraries dedicated to him, and therefore at some point his tweets invariably are going to become part of that public record. So it'll be interesting to see where they're going to get them, how they're going to do that. Now, one possible option, which Obama did, was that would be to get all the tweets that he posted during his presidency and put it onto his website. So that's actually an option, would be to put it there, which makes them very, very searchable in that regard too. So if you actually want to do a lot of web browsing cross references of his tweets and whatnot, you can find stuff about that. Now, I elected to do a little research about those. I was curious to how much our former toddler president, whatever you want to call him. I know I'm not a big fan of him. Sorry, but I'll try to maintain that down a little bit. A little research showed that the former president tweeted nearly 23,858 times, or nearly 24,000 times during the course of his presidency, which is about 1,460 days. So you do the math, that is actually an average, and this is just an average, of just over 16 tweets a day. And this includes tweets and retweets. So what that means is that in a given day, if he is actually not typing something out himself, he's scrolling through, looking for something, and tweeting that out, which, takes time to sit there and read through that, which means he's not listening to presidential briefs. He's not paying attention to important, security meetings. He's not doing his job, if you want to look at it that way. He's sitting there futzing around on his phone and tweeting away whatever he's tweeting. So if you want to think of it that way, I mean, if any of you get on your kids about tweeting or social media in general and not doing their homework, that's about what the equivalent is. And somebody actually did this big info chart. It actually was like a color chart. It showed okay, if he only does 10 to 15, it just shows one color. And as there are more, the color darkens and whatnot. And you can just see this trend where starting in 2016 or 17, excuse me, all the way through 2020, it basically just goes from light to dark. Because he sees that for 2019 and 2020, the retweeting just gives him so much to tweet about that he's literally tweeting it's insane average of 30 to 45 a day. It is insane as to how much this guy was retweeting. And so yeah, so that's the big tech news with Twitter, is that they're never going to bring back Trump's account. Yay! So so that's the big news I've got about Twitter.
Yeah. So he covered that. That's good.
Yes, I did.
Yes, Super Tab, we are live.
Yay.
So if you were watching, thank you. Yeah, we are live.
We are live.
We are indeed live. So that's
moose.
all the current tech news that we have. And oh boy, man, that was a handful.
Yes, it was.
That's a handful. So
I think we managed it pretty well.
Yeah, I think we did for our first live broadcast. And everyone, you can always rewatch this at any time once we end the live broadcast. And you can also listen to this as well. We're going to upload the audio to our podcasting service. And again, you can download it to anywhere that you like. And if you have recommendations, stories you want us to cover, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment area. That's what they
What's
call
it
it.
called again? Comment area.
It is the comment area.
Be sure to
Post it
like
down
and
there.
subscribe and all that good stuff.
Like and
You definitely wanna do
subscribe.
that.
You know, also subscribe if you're listening to the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Go to our website, TechThatDoesn'tByte, BYTE.com.
Mhm. Yep.
You can send us a message.
Yep, you can learn more about us. We've got our Bytecast link there. We have blog posts that are up there, links to our YouTube channel, so you can learn about all sorts of other stuff we've teched for, answer questions about. So by all means, definitely subscribe and like to us. And we have our own individual accounts too, so you can like and subscribe to us too as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But until next time, we're going to see everyone again in our next Bytecast live edition.
Hey,
Everyone, take care of yourself. We'll see you next time.
Take care, everyone.